The following video has been written and created without the use of AI. Please support your human content creators by liking the video and commenting something down below. Every comment you write, I will see. I personally check the comments every hour. Thank you. It was late at night, and the hours were passing only slowly. Your eyes wandering from your security tablet to the small TV on the desk, which depicted a late-night soap opera. It wasn't exciting in the slightest, but at least it was lazy. Yes, being a security guard in the Pizzaplex at night was an interesting ordeal. It obviously was the job with the least to do inside the Plex, a slacker's paradise. Just follow the surprisingly small checklist every night and then just roll with everything. One task that you thoroughly enjoyed, was the setting up as well as removal of the emergency night lights inside the Superstar Daycare. Apparently, the animatronic inside, the daycare attendant, was considered dangerous, as he was programmed with multiple personalities that weren't in full harmony. The one with the most bugs, called Eclipse, was in a constant state of being inaccessible, and would require a full security restart to be reactivated. But the second personality, Moon, was apparently too important for the most desirable personality's son to be deleted, or at least similarly shut off like Eclipse. Every night you had to cart in 4 gasoline-powered electricity generators and then hook them up to the floodlights of the daycare. They were, surprisingly, very quiet. They didn't stink even, but they were heavy. So heavy, in fact, that tonight you did notice that the morning shift, the people who take over after you go home, had forgotten to fill up the generators with a fresh pour of gasoline. And so, in the middle of the night, the lights of the daycare went out. Sure, this wasn't a big problem. The daycare still had its regular lights on, but there still was the issue of the scheduled blackouts. Every hour, the lights and non-essential electronics were turned off to reroute the power to the animatronic charging stations to charge their internal batteries within, as well as to be a visual reminder to the machines, who during the night were given total freedom to roam the Plex, to charge. And it would be during the second scheduled blackout of the night when Moon escaped the daycare. He was watching you, hidden inside one of the vents, where it was just barely dark enough to prevent sun from taking over their shared body. Due to the glitches, bugs, and the intrusive virus deeply hidden within the AI of the animatronic, he posed a greater danger to children. Due to that, now that the daycare during opening hours was always flooded with light, he was kept at bay, and the only brief moments he was actually in control of their shared body was at night, which made Moon obsessed with the employees, as those tended to be the only adults he could interact with. Your fingers were gliding almost artistically over the security tablet in a way that made his eyes widen. Normally, night guards were direct with no sensitivity for the finer details, treating machines like machines, but you didn't fat-finger the screen. Though you weren't treating the tablet with respect on purpose. This was just his animatronic brain overanalyzing your movements. In reality, you were just too distracted by your soap opera, just swiping your finger around the tablet, to feel like you were actually doing a great job. Your wristwatch suddenly went off, causing you to fall off your chair with a loud thud. Moon suppressed a chuckle. With a tight expression, you pressed the off button for the alarm. There goes another thing on your sparse checklist. You made a button press on the security tablet, which officially notified all animatronics that you'd be starting your patrol now. Even Moon got it, quickly slapping a hand on his mouth as a notification sound was playing from it. You didn't hear it. But as you stood up and left Moon, he noticed something. You forgot your Fazbear Entertainment novelty Montgomery Gator Fast Taser. Trademark. That went against security regulations. Moon's eyes narrowed. How dare you forgot essential equipment for your job? He ought to teach you a lesson in not forgetting your tools. Patiently he followed, never leaving the vent, making his pants dirty, and yet his desire to punish was greater than his need to immediately turn around and wash his balloon pants. Your patrol led you down a familiar path. You walked this route every night. It was the most entertaining one, after all. Starting with Rockstar Row, looking at the Gramrock displays, and conveniently making sure which ones were in their rooms, which ones were not. You took mental note. Roxy, not there, probably at the raceway. Chica present, tuning her bass guitar. Monty, present, punching his punching bag and giving you a cheeky wink as you passed. You stopped before Freddy's room. The bear was pressing against the glass and giving you big doll eyes. Rolling your own, you entered while Moon jealously turned his head 180 degrees, staring at you from the ceiling vent, while angrily kicking away the mini music man that was trying to get him to leave.
"Ah, Miss Nightguard, I have a concern,"
mumbled Freddy as he stood awkwardly before you. All right.
"See, I was stuck in the freezer today again, and the day shift needed to remove the ice cream cake from my storage chest. But they couldn't open it, as it was frozen over, so Jairus took a regular cake, and instead of me greeting the child for their birthday, Monty had to tune in."
You blinked, still not fully understanding where the hell this was going. And yet Trey looked at you with full expectation, like you already knew what the fuck was going on. "And?" you grunted, causing Freddy to come uncomfortably close to your ear.
"It's still inside me."
You furrowed your brows.
"See, Mr. Chester Crawford..."
"Brian?" you interrupted Freddy.
"Yes, Brian, right. Brian said someone else will do it, and no one ever did."
You sighed. "Fine. Open up." The cake by now was kinda gross. The gelatin in it luckily kept its shape, but still it smelled a little off. Carefully you lifted it out of Freddy, who deeply thanked you and apologized for the inconvenience. Though you meanwhile were resisting the curious urge to taste the warm ice cream cake. But you managed to just throw it into the trash and then continue your patrol. But this little interaction infuriated Moon. You gave deep physical attention to another animatronic? That went against the rules! But he wasn't mad for the assumed rule breaking. He was jealous. He wanted you to touch his insides like that. And you were going to touch his insides before this night ends. That's at least what he set himself as a goal. You ended your patrol in El Chip's Taco restaurant on the second floor inside the atrium, to try your luck at the lock-stacking arcade game in there, inserting your employee card not only to make the game easier but also free. You spent the next 20 minutes trying to break Brian's record until, with a loud thud, the next scheduled blackout just occurred. "Damn it!" you grunted, slamming your fist into the now shut-off machine. "Fine, whatever," you growled. You had come really close this time, and the blackout just ruined it. It bothered you that the stoner managed to snag every goddamn high score in the plex. But as you turned around to leave, you bumped head first into the daycare attendant. The sudden resistance of plastic and metal made you yelp and fall against the arcade machine. "What the hell?" you shouted, still angry at the arcade. You weren't really angry at the robot. Not just yet. Narrowing eyes, you growled. "Son, what the hell are you doing here?" Offended, the animatronic took a step back.
"Do I look like that goody two-shoes, Miss Nightguard?"
You blinked. Now that you mention it, you look a little blue around the face. Oh, dread, did they forget to add the gas to the generators? The robot's head made a 360 spin. Yes, he purred. Okay. You crossed your arms annoyed. And what? You're like the evil version of the daycare attendant, right? As always?
I'm not evil, just more orderly. And you haven't been orderly at all, Miss Nightguard.
He sounded like an angry cat, which you found hilarious. Right, so what did I do wrong? Annoyed, he pulled out your taser.
You forgot your equipment.
He threw the taser at you, which you barely managed to catch. I guess you stopped juggling it, sighing. Thanks. He put a finger on your lips to shut you up, earning him a glare.
And your physical activities with a certain glam rock-flavored bear.
From the tone of his voice alone, you narrowed your eyes. You had a certain feeling. It was familiar, as you had dealt with a jealous ex before. And Moon was acting, right now, exactly like he did. You smirked under his finger, and finally pulled back.
How dare you smile at me, Miss Nightguard? This is serious!
Dealing with bad boyfriends, which totally wasn't your screwed-up taste in childish baby-faced men who needed someone to take care of them, you knew exactly how to deal with the fussy baby. And so you put a finger on his chest. The fact you weren't scared of his super, totally intimidating aura took him off guard. Now listen here, mister. All I did was remove a leftover cake from Freddy. I didn't even know you were watching me. Hell, I didn't even know you left your daycare. Shouldn't you be in there anyways right now? His face made a 360 spin, and then he grabbed your wrist. Through that only earned him another glare.
Listen here, Miss Nightguard.
What? You barked.
I don't want you interacting with the other machines. I never get to have fun, always just watching in the back of my other half's mind like an afterthought. And then you're just giving them attention and not me.
You gave him a coy smile. Oh, is that so? You little stalker. His grip around your wrist tightened slightly, not enough to hurt. You knew he wasn't capable of actually damaging you. And that's why you weren't scared. So, how are you going to stop me from doing my job?
I'll take you and wrap ropes around you so you can leave my daycare.
Yeah, I'm not a rope bunny. You blinked, and his head turned upside down. He didn't understand the term. You took that moment of confusion to turn the tables around on your little stalker. You shoved him against the machine, pressing yourself against him. Look, I'm not being paid enough to be an animatronic handler. So, I have to give attention to everyone, not just you.
Miss Nightguard,
So either you leave me alone, or you open up the mouth of the crocodile-shaped taser. Trust me, I dated guys like you before. I know where to ram this. His eyes adjusted to the buzzing tips, zooming in on them, not fully understanding.
What?
Rolling your eyes, you reach down, clapping the jaws of the taser around the machine's groin, and a moment later, it went off. The robot jittered, unleashing a glitched, garbled scream until you took it off. He was hunched over, one hand on the arcade machine, while his body moved like he was breathing exhausted.
Miss Nightguard, what the?
Had enough. The machine jolted up, grabbing your shoulders tightly.
Nobody has ever touched me like that.
To his surprise, he didn't sound angry. His hands on his head, he convulsed.
What did you do? What did you do?
Well, let's just call it a controlled shock. Moon's eyes flashed at you.
Harder.
What?
Do it again!
But harder, he demanded. So this means no bondage, right? He nodded. I can deal with that. You returned Moon to the daycare just barely before the lights turned back on, and he eagerly awaited your return for the next scheduled blackout. A time you used to make sure to fully charge the taser. Admittedly, it was strange to you that the machine would react so positively to being shocked, but anything to make your job easier. When you entered the daycare once again, the place was dark. Moon was hanging in the play area's net, watching you. So are you ready or not? You shouted up at him after entering. If you really want this, come down and lie down. I don't want you to accidentally punching me. Almost too eager, the machine scuttled to your side.
I like attention either way, but I like your attention especially, as long as it's on no one else.
A dry sure was all he got as a response from you. Quivering with excitement, the masochistic stalker robot lied down onto the security desk. God, I don't get it. If I get fired for this, I'll make an HR complaint, and then you get scrapped. Got it? You muttered, as Moon spread himself out. Your hands trembled a little as you gripped the taser. You weren't sure if it was nerves or something darker curling hot in your gut. The sight of him lying out across the security desk. It was oddly inviting. You stepped closer, boots scraping the tiled floor, the buzzing of the taser filling the air with an electric tension. Moon's hands twitched against the desk, claws flexing in anxious need, body shivering like a live wire. One flick of your wrist, and the jaws of the taser clamped onto the thin metal plating along his chest. Sparks danced. The jolt arced his body in a ragged spasm, head rolling back, voice splintering into a glitchy moan half drowned into static. It should have been unsettling. Should have made you step back, drop the damn thing, and call your supervisor. If there was one. But you didn't. The sound of his pleasure twisted something deep inside you. You leaned in, emboldened, pressing the taser hard against him. He writhed under your hand, leg scissoring against the desk edge, scraping deep scratches into the wood. God, this better not awaken anything in me, you thought, before you let the taser clatter onto the floor. Fingers skimming the ridge of his jaw, you tilted his head towards you. The cold plastic was warm from static and friction. He blinked down at you, optics fluttering, bright, dazed by your closeness. And then, your lips brushed his metal jaw first, attentive and testing. Then his long, jointed arms curled around your waist, dragging you fully against his chest with unexpected tenderness. You kissed him. You didn't really know why, but you did. The kiss felt clumsy and off balance, skin meeting cold plastic, your warmth pressing into mechanical stillness. His mouth, static as it was, remained the same, but you could hear the unmistakable buzz of his endoskeleton mouth move as he desperately tried kissing you back, letting out small, stuttering noises that buzzed against your tongue. You managed to deepen the kiss somehow, your breath quickening. You felt his painted grin seemingly falter under the pressure of your lips. One hand roamed your back, the thin cloth of your uniform doing nothing to hide the tremor that ran through you. You could taste the ozone still lingering from the taser, sharp and metallic, strangely sweet. He shifted, propped himself up on one elbow, drawing you further into his lap. The gesture made your breath hitched, cheeks hot under the flickering emergency lights. In that half-dark, he looked almost cute. With his glitching optics and kinda cracked paint. and dirtied face. Your hand slid to the buttons of your uniform shirt, fumbling them open one by one, emboldened by his hunger. Why was he programmed for this? Either way, this was kinda hot. Your fingers gripped the taser once again, a moment longer than necessary. It buzzed softly in your hand, your thumb brushing over the switch, teasing both him and yourself with the threat of another jolt. You almost laughed at how desperately he trembled, trying to thrust his hips towards you. A flick of your wrist and the crocodile's maw snapped shut against his side, lightning sparking, metal convulsing under your palm. A strangled, digitized moan rattled out of his speakers, broken by static that made your heart jolt. Pun not intended. You hadn't expected this noise. That rawness. And maybe it was the absurdity, the risk of it all, or perhaps just the intimacy of holding his writhing form beneath you, but heat prickled at the back of your neck. You pressed the taser to him again, firmer this time, feeling his cold chassis quiver under the shock. He twitched, spasming with a fractured stutter of pleasure, garbled vowels trembling out of him in glitching bursts. Your breath caught at the sound, teeth sinking into your lower lip. Somehow in a way, this was the hottest thing you had ever seen. You let the taser fall away, hearing it clatter onto the security desk floor gotten. Your palms resting on its chest panel, feeling the subtle vibrations of servos struggling to calm themselves. Slowly your lips hovered over the crescent grin painted across his faceplate. Breath mingling with the artificial scent of oil. You shouldn't. You really shouldn't, but your resolve melted with every electric tremor left dancing in your fingertips. Your lips brushed in a kiss far softer than you'd planned. Warmth meeting chill metal, static snapping against your skin. Your tongue shutting out, licking the plastic of his face. His fingers tipped in chipped white paint, curling awkwardly around your waist, unsure, trembling. He felt so fragile for all of this looming presence that he was, and maybe that was what tipped you over the edge. You licked him, tilting your head to reach every crevice of his mouth, your free hand gripping the edge of his shoulders as you tasted the faint tang of plastic, metal, and something sweeter. You hoped it was pain. Just the illusion of affection and not grime, dirt, or cat's vomit on his face. His head twitched mid-kiss, a tiny spasm, as if his own programming couldn't process the information it was receiving. You swallowed a laugh that was bubbling up at the absurdity in your gut, catching your breath in a shallow gasp. And then you broke away, your forehead resting against the cold mask, breath coming quicker than it should. More, he demanded. Hey, you reached the end of the video. That makes you part of an exclusive club. Our secret club password for this month is Rusty Spoons. Put the secret message in your comment below to tell fellow members that you watched the video until the very end. Lastly, before we say goodbye, I want to take the opportunity and thank my channel members. And if you want me to say something silly here, just have a funny account name and join my darling Steward tier. We have Meow Meow Person, Puppet Noah, ADHD Neptune, Mimi Mumu, Adrijama, Jaws, Melofia, Maxicat, Allison Watkins, Mystic Jade 111, Giovanna Moretti, Twilight Mia, Angry Boxman, and Anonymous Weep. Thank you for being Dying Stewards, and of course, a big thank you to all the other channel members. I cannot do this without you. Bye!